If you are invested in the continued destruction, humiliation, and overall middle finger to Drake, then you really enjoy this halftime show. And if you have no dog in the fight and you're not of someone of the culture or appreciates hip hop or artistry or messaging, I can understand why you thought this was the worst halftime show of all time. So I'm not going to sit here and trash the people that just didn't get it. My granddaddy always used to say, if you didn't understand it or you didn't get it, then it simply just wasn't for you.
Mhm.
Shut the fuck up. Like
Mhm.
that was like there. That's all there is to it. So I liked three things about Kendrick Lamar's performance. The subtlety leading up into the Not Like Us song, which obviously everybody was waiting for.
Yeah.
The fact that he teased it was one thing throughout the performance. You would hear bits and pieces of the song. And then I loved like the Samuel L. Jackson dressing up
Like
in
Uncle Sam.
Uncle Sam with Trump in attendance, which is hilarious.
Mhm.
And then I liked like the other subtle digs, the little A on his chain for A minor, like little things like that. I really enjoyed. And then obviously having SZA and
Mhm.
Serena Williams there, two of Drake's exes or women. Shouldn't say exes but women that Drake has been romantically attached to. Things like that. As a fan of rap beef, I appreciate. I thought it was great. I thought the halftime show was great. I loved all the songs. I love the song selection. I love the presentation. Kendrick Lamar carried it. It's very odd, or not odd. It's very rare that an artist does all the vocal work,
Mhm.
maintains, just continues to move throughout the whole thing. He did everything. He performed it flawlessly, perfectly. Again, if you're not someone who cares about any of that and is not obviously a hip hop fan or someone who doesn't know anything about Kendrick Lamar, Drake, I do understand why you did not like it. I fucking loved it. I don't know how you guys feel.
I loved it, but I mean, you got to appreciate, even if you don't know the beef, you have to
Mhm.
appreciate Kendrick for being the lyricist and the performer that he is, and what
Yeah.
he created there too. And I like the SZA feature, but they had done work together before. The Serena Williams though, and even the small and picking up on that and the whole beef. I mean, these are things that people have been talking, like this was one for the true fans. And I mean, he had one of the biggest albums. He won a Grammy leading into the Super Bowl, and this is why people tuned in for the drama. So I mean, it did its job. And Jeremiah, I agree with you. If you didn't get it or he didn't care for it, shut the fuck up. Like, who cares? You know how many awful acts we've had to sit through of our parents' generation of just being like, and look, nothing against them because I like the Rolling Stones and their music, but like, oh, cool, I'll watch the Rolling Stones play the hits. Like, all right, great, boring, shit like that. And I'm probably going to get tons of hate for that too. But hey, this is something for some fans, not everybody. If you don't like it, oh well, get out. Like, you don't have to sit there and make a video about how, oh, you shouldn't have been doing this and that, and that's messed up. And if you did read up on the beef beforehand and you did your homework, that's great. So there was so much speculation going into it if he was going to play it, obviously with the legal situation of being sued by it too, or being sued by Drake. But the fact that he was teasing it and then eventually did it was just fantastic. Really showed him that he was going to do it anyway. He obviously got the approval from the label and the NFL to do it as well. So why not? Like,
Yeah, he
get on with
censored the
it.
words that he needed. He censored pedophile.
100%. Yeah.
Obviously cursing. They're not allowed to curse, but I'm
Yeah.
saying like some of the direct, like the pedophile stuff.
Yeah.
He censored it. He did whatever, I'm sure that was part of the deal. Like, yo, do not say the word pedophile on there.
Yeah.
Don't. And again, with the lawsuit that Drake is having, obviously more defamation, calling him a pedophile at the Super Bowl. JT, before you go, I do want to say a lot of people who were trashing it. Kendrick Lamar Super Bowl halftime show drew 133.5 million viewers, topping Michael Jackson's longtime record as the most watched ever. So according to Front Office Sports. So go ahead, JT.
Man, where do I start, man? I went through so many ranges of emotions before and during that performance. I agree with you guys. I thought it was one of the best Super Bowl
Yeah.
performances of all time. Like, and the reason why it was so great is, and I'll start for me personally, is I was like, you know what? I'm a huge Kendrick fan. I'm like, I'm thinking of all the songs I want him to play. I'm like, all right, I want to hear All Right. I want to hear Mad City. I want to hear all these songs that I know I love of Kendrick, the recipe, all this stuff. And it took me 2 seconds to realize I was not going to get any of that shit. I saw Samuel L. Jackson as Uncle Sam. I'm like, oh, I see what's going on here. I know exactly where this is about to go. And it blew me away. It exceeded all my expectations. Just all the signs, just the messages. And the funny thing is, I feel like the performance had little to do with Drake. Like, I feel like the only reason Drake was a part of this performance is because that damn song won a Grammy. Like, it was record of the year. So you gotta play that song. Like, and I don't even think the song that he was teasing about not playing was even that song. I think it was another song. That's just a theory of mine. But I just loved everything about it. Like, I think it was a way to hold up a big mirror and reflect to the country and the state that we're in. Like, this is everything that was wrong. Like, you know, it was just so much going on. Like, even like the game over at the end, you know, the revolution will not be televised. Like, all these little subtle things. Even Samuel L. You know, stop it, you too ghetto. You don't know how to play the game. Like, it was just perfect. His delivery was perfect. Like, everything was just perfect, man. And it was, and I think the funniest thing about this performance to me, and you guys hit on it with all the people, you know, like, oh, you know, like he didn't do this and that. The whole point of that Not Like Us song is exactly for everybody who did not understand the Super Bowl. He has been singing about you the whole entire time. If you don't understand his message, then you are not like us. And like the same people who were upset about the Super Bowl, it was not for you. So I don't know what you were looking at. That was one of the best performances I ever seen. Like, he did a great job, and he did a good job of promoting his new album. Like, that's why you play all this new stuff. So they said that Not Like Us went to 1 billion streams after the Super Bowl, and I'm pretty sure like this new album GNX is gonna go triple platinum. So I'm happy for the man.
We also recognize that him in the Super Bowl could very well, or performing at the Super Bowl could very well be the reason we're getting another Lil Wayne record. Like, that announcement. Let's like, listen, I'm happy Kendrick, and I know there was so much. I mean, we're kind of moving past the fact that it was in New Orleans. Lil Wayne, like, that's the whole thing, even leading into it too. Like, why wasn't it Wayne? Why wasn't it Wayne? And then last Thursday, we got an announcement that, yeah, we're getting a new album here.
So obviously, Prince is the greatest halftime show at the Super Bowl ever.
Yeah,
it's Prince.
He up there for sure.
Probably, I really enjoyed the Dr. Dre one.
Yep, in LA. Yep,
in LA, that was amazing. U2 had a pretty good one a few years ago. No one will ever, I will never not, and I know people will disagree with me, but when Creed performed in 01 after Janet Jackson, that was great. It was amazing. It was memorable. I loved it.
You gonna say Paul McCartney next?
No. Michael Jackson, and then probably this.
What about J-Lo and Shakira?
That's a good show.
Yeah. I had it on mute, so I mean, I enjoyed watching it. I mean, there's been a couple, right? Like, I enjoyed
Beyonce and Bruno Mars.
I didn't like that one. It was cool. I didn't like that. I
thought Rihanna's was good last year too.
Usher was good too.
Mm-hmm.
Usher was good. Rihanna. It was because she was pregnant, and it's not because I feel like we didn't get the full Rihanna experience. I think she did the best she could in her circumstance. I'm not obviously blaming her pregnancy. It's just the fact that she was pregnant made me feel like we were getting a tamer version of what we could have gotten. Even though I loved the song selection, and I love Rihanna, of course, but I feel like we were kind of robbed of the full Rihanna experience because she was pregnant. Again, not her fault or whatever. Well, technically it is, right? But it's like, but like it is what it is. Like, there's nothing we can do about it. But yeah, Kendrick, probably a top 5 performance of all time if you're being objective about it. And again, if you didn't understand it, that's on you. Like, that's fine, but it wasn't trash either. Let's not act like it was just straight trash. Like, it wasn't anything like that. But
can I ask you a question about this? Because this is going around. Do you think the backlash from this Super Bowl performance is at the level of the Janet Jackson one?
From a certain demographic, I think it is.
Because I feel like we might see like a severe overcorrection next year because everyone's so upset about this, the way we saw with Janet Jackson.
Yeah, but I feel like we do this every year. Like, every year after a hip hop act, people are crying for rock. And they seem to generally stick to that unless you have extenuating circumstances. Like this thing with Kendrick Lamar is the biggest thing to happen in music in a very long time. And I feel like if you didn't get the Drake and Kendrick beef, we would have gotten country singing Beyonce or something like that. You know what I mean? Like we would have ended up with Cowboy Carter or some version of that. But the NFL has a pulse on the nation, man. Like and the numbers prove it. Like, so regardless of how you feel, again, I feel like this is a very loud minority and Drake fans that are overtaking this, right? Like and so
I think it also speaks to political climate too, unfortunately, that crept in as well. So
that's all, but that's always going to be a
100%.
Hey, all you folks out there, I appreciate your naivety. Why does everything have to be about color? It's because everything's about color, period. Like, I don't know how many more examples of race in things. Race will always be a factor because racism will always exist. Unfortunately, it's just the way it is. So you got a bunch of guys, the guys who don't like the Drake performance, I guarantee you, they have probably Busch Light in their fridge and they probably have Works boots by their mudroom. Like, it is what it is. And they probably drive a Tacoma.